the waterway that you see behind us, and that I guess we're kind of sitting on
It's a retaining wall.
totally a retaining wall that goes right out onto the water. It's like a very old little canal. I don't know the name of it or if it has a name, but it leads eventually to the Fleet Street Pumping Station, which is the original water station for Ottawa that was built in the 1880s, I believe, and it's still actually used. It's beautiful. It was kind of the second location that we thought about using. And there's a pretty interesting connection between this little waterway and the Rideau Canal and the location of which is where the Bytown Museum is. Because the Rideau Canal was initially slated to go through here, to run from Dow's Lake to the south there to the foot of Chaudière Falls over here, or Akikojawan, which is a big or an important sacred site for the Algonquin people. But John Le Breton overheard Lord Dalhousie, who was one of the first governors of, what's now Canada, talking and saying it was going to go through what's now Le Breton Flats. And he happened to know that the land, there was no deed, at least didn't belong to anyone with a European background in deed anyways. And so he bought up the land and then tried to sell it back at a quite large profit to Lord Dalhousie. And Lord Dalhousie was so peeved at this that he rerouted the Rideau Canal quite a ways out of the way, many more locks, quite a bit more expense and time, just so that John Le Breton wouldn't profit from this land speculation that he did. Though I think he did okay, because it's, it became valuable land regardless. I don't know, what else?
Well, the land also has more historical significance. It was a working community, and
yeah, it kind of, so Victoria Island, which is, or that's what it's called by Euro-Canadians, I guess, or whatever. That's where the Chaudière Falls are along. That became, and this whole area became a major logging, timber yards and so on, and factories and mills. That's the word I'm looking for. There were lots of mills and stuff. And so this area became, it had all those things, but also a lot of housing for people that would work in the lumber industry here. And and there was, a major railway that went here, and that would load up the timber and quite a bit of factory and industrial stuff here eventually. And so in the 1960s, the government decided in its wisdom that the whole place was kind of a slum, and decided to tear the whole place down and kick everyone out. This was sort of seen as the progressive thing to do at the time. There are some parallel, this is a parallel movement that what happened with Africville and Halifax and so on. And there are still people that remember this and are I think, rightly mad about it. There was a painter that painted some kind of oil sketches, just ahead of the destruction
of this
what
area. Used to be the working neighborhood.
Exactly. And it was supposed to clear the way for all sorts of wonderful projects. Diefenbaker planned a big Department of Defense complex here, and there have been many schemes over the decades, but the land has laid empty since the 1960s, aside from a few condos that have gone on far over there.
And I guess this station.
And this station, yeah, that's right. And eventually the library is going to be over here. Anyways, so they really didn't need to kick all those people out, let's put it that way, and destroy a vibrant neighborhood. But they did, and who knows, maybe something good will be here again. In the meantime, it's mostly going back to wilderness, which is actually pretty cool. Anyways, let's sing a song, finally.
That's also about people being sort of forced from their homes.
Oh yeah, that's right. This is our connection. It is a completely different story, but this is Un Canadien errant, which the opening line is someone, an errant Canadian who's been banished from his home. So this is talking about what we would now call Québécois. At the time, Canadien, there was no such thing as English Canadians at the time. To be Canadien was to be French in the 1830s. So these were rebels. that fought in the rebellion of 1837. They wanted weird things like democracy and to not be ruled by a distant British crown and aristocracy. And they lost. And the jails were filled with all of these terrible rebels, and they started executing some of them, but the British authorities were like, no, these are too many martyrs. Let's just start banishing them so that we can have functional jails again and so on and get rid of these troublemakers. So a lot of them were sent to Australia. Quite a number of the fighters had also fled to America, and this was kind of a poem that was written and set to a traditional folk tune that's kind of written from the perspective of one of the exiles, thinking of his friends and homeland.
Beautiful song.
I had the chords by the end. We've got one more song to do. And it's called Red River Valley.
And it has an interesting history, and it's also usually claimed as American, which is not true.
Yeah, it sort of has made it into the semi-standard country repertoire down in the States. And I guess there's a Red River, I think, in Texas, and so they all think it's about that, but it's totally not. This is a folk song from the Red River Valley in Manitoba, and it's written from the perspective of a Métis woman, perhaps as improbable as this may sound, that fell in love with one of the people that came to put the Métis rebellion down. Yeah, maybe. I don't know if we need to say a lot more than that, but it's a beautiful song.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, people fall in love with all sorts of people. Okay.
From this valley they say you are going. We will miss your bright eyes and sweet smile. For they say you are taking the sunshine that is bright in our pathways a while. Come and sit by my side if you love me. Do not hasten to bid me adieu, but remember the Red River Valley and the one who has loved you so true. It's a long time, you know, I've been waiting for the words that you never did say. But alas, all my fond hopes have vanished, for they say you are going away. Come and sit by my side if you love me. Do not hasten to bid me adieu, but remember the Red River Valley and the one who has loved you so true. As you go to your home by the ocean, may you never forget those sweet hours that we spent in the Red River Valley, and the love we exchanged amidst its bowers. Come and sit by my side if you love me. Do not hasten to bid me adieu, but remember the Red River Valley and the one who has loved you so true. There we go.
Thanks again.
Yeah, thanks for spending the time with us. It's been lovely. The sun has set while we've been playing. There have been birds, dragonflies, all sorts of those little water spiders skating all over the water and making ripples, ants crawling over us.
We highly recommend this spot.